And welcome to the Give Me Liberty podcast of the Standing for Freedom Center at Liberty University. We've got a special edition. We're actually at the Biblical Worldview Conference at Prestonwood Baptist Church. I'm joined by a very good friend, a longtime friend of Charlie Kirk and of Turning Point USA, a board member, as well as the pastor of King's Church in New York City, David Engelhardt. Welcome, brother. Good to see you.
Thanks, Ryan. Good to be here.
Also author of Good Kills.
Author, tap dancer, amateur tap dancer.
Yeah?
No, I wish.
Okay.
I can't tap dance.
Do you put those little, you've ever seen those tap dancers like in New York? I mean, you're in New York.
Yeah.
They put the little cans on the bottom of their shoes. So they
not so much New York. That's really that's for like a New Orleans thing.
New Orleans thing.
Huge New Orleans.
It's New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have more kind of like rat circus, you know. The people get the little Ferris wheel and the rats do tricks and they'll attack people.
Those rats are crazy. All right. So we're in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
The memory of Charlie is very fresh. There are people right now saying some incredible things about Charlie and the impact he had on their lives. I saw a recent clip of Franklin Graham. I think it was a Religious Liberty Council, where he was sitting next to Eric Metaxas and even Dr. Phil. And he's saying, I never knew the guy. And he goes, and I love him and I miss him already. And so missing the impact that he had, and then obviously hundreds of millions of people saw that service, the memorial service. You were there, a part of it. I was in the room. What an incredible event. Unforgettable.
Truly.
So tell me a little bit about just how you've been taking all this in.
That one part of the service was just to jump to that. When I turned around in that moment of worship and all the signs were lifted that said, "Here I am, send me." That moment was just such a profound moment. Prophetically, obviously, just like practically, it's a profound moment. I didn't know that there was going to be a sign moment that everyone. I don't know if that was planned. Was it? I don't know how that happened.
I don't either.
I turned around and there was, there's 90,000 signs lifted, and all of the ones on the floor anyway said, "Here I am, send me." It was just like, and that's really what needs to happen. That's what God is asking for people to step out. I was talking to this guy this morning, called me from Pepperdine University, just like a 20-year-old asking for life advice, which I have very little of. And he's like, "I want to do all these things." And I'm like, "Do them." Like, you have TikTok, you have every opportunity in the whole universe. There's no more gatekeepers anymore. No. Share your faith, do your thing, do it tomorrow. Like, do it now, do it today. And it was part of that, "Here I am, send me." It's like, people need to stop waiting for permission to share the gospel. Like, they have to, like, I'm not saying don't wait for permission to be a pastor of a church, but to share the gospel. Jesus is at the well with this lady who's arguing with him about where the right mountain to worship is. And he says, "Listen, lady, one day the true worshipers are going to worship in spirit and in truth. They're not going to care about the physical mountain. They're going to see beyond the mountain to God and his kingdom as the ultimate mountain that needs to be manifest." She gets a revelation of who Christ is, and she runs into the city immediately declaring, "I've met the man. I've met this guy. He told me who I was." And like, that needs to happen yesterday. Like, we need to stop waiting for permission to share the gospel. Like,
Amen.
It needs to happen.
That's
what Charlie, Charlie wasn't a pastor. He was a great preacher. You know that. I know that. But he shared the gospel better than anyone in our generation to the secular world.
Yeah, he
That's
did.
Hands down the truth. And nobody's touching it. Like, we have these, evangelistic crusades and tours. And it's like almost, whenever I go to these things, it's like almost all church people.
Yeah.
And then somebody's aunt or cousin, and praise God for those salvations. I don't mean to diminish them, but to the secular world, it's like Paul, I think we talked about this a couple of days ago, Ryan. I can't remember if it's Acts 17, but it says Paul is not just in the synagogue, but also in the marketplace, and he's engaging individually with people. That must happen. People must do that. And like, you want to be a hero because people want to be heroes. They want to engage in the secular arena, become a hero. And it doesn't have to look exactly like Charlie did it. You don't have to have all the answers. He certainly didn't have all the answers when he started. People don't understand that either. And that's something, not to diminish his intellect, because he had a steel trap memory. Intelligence is like, multifaceted, right? You have people that memorize stuff really well. You have people that process stuff really well. You have people that analyze pictures, imagery, concepts there's all kinds of different kinds of intelligence. Charlie had memory intelligence. He was masterful at memorization. But at first, he didn't have all those answers. He would wander through stuff and kind of get stuck and circle back. And then after years and years and years and years of public debate, he had all those answers locked down. So it's like, give yourself time. Like, you don't have to know everything right away. And so anyway,
don't be afraid to strike out either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Actually, and do strike out.
Right.
Plan on striking out. Plan on not being amazing at first, because if you plan on hitting a home run and then it's abysmal, which it probably will be, then you'll never come back. But if you realize it's a learning game and you'll get better, even in your evangelism, even in your like meeting a person on the street, meeting the person at the grocery store, that's a skill set that has to be developed, which is why Jesus said, do not even the heathen greet each other in the marketplace. How much more should you? Because you have to know how to talk to people in order to engage the gospel with people. Now I feel like I'm rambling at this point.
This is awesome.
Preacher ramble.
I got so many anecdotes of like just stories. And I didn't, Charlie had 1,000 friends like me. He had 1,000 people that he engaged with, that he knew, that he texted with, that he would call. I'm going to go back to one thing. So Charlie was I never ever saw Charlie embarrassed. Okay, so Charlie was one of those guys, really, really bold. He could talk at a level like 9 or 10. And if he was right or he's wrong, you wouldn't know it. He spoke with confidence. And I remember first meeting him in 2019, and we had several events, and we would, we'd I flew out to Arizona, or he'd fly into Lynchburg. And I'll never forget this one time. We had this closed meeting. There's like 50 people. So I'm just going to share this thing. This kind of gives insight into who Charlie was. He had no clothes. Like, he had no clothes that match or anything like that. Like, I was like, where is his suitcase? So he was wearing these khaki shorts that looked like they had been wadded up. like had come out of a trash bag. And he was wearing those. He was wearing these high socks that were like halfway up his calf. He had dress shoes on, like brown dress shoes. So he had brown dress shoes, dress socks, no pants, wadded up shorts, and then a shirt, like he'd found a t-shirt or something, like a Liberty shirt that he was wearing. And like anyone would have said, do you want to postpone this a little bit? like wait for a couple of hours, get some normal clothes. He didn't care. He's like, let's go. It's time. Let's go, And he was it was very cerebral for him that he was not ashamed to get up in front of people, no matter what the room was, what the composition of the room was, to get up in front of people and speak. I thought that was an admirable quality. Now, first of all, I was also thinking like, well, I'm like 10 years older than the guy. I can't do that. He can do that, But there's a lot of people that we had this, discussion even last week, that because Charlie was not institutionalized, because he didn't actually go to college. Go to college, by the way. Please go to college. Go to a Christian college. Go to Liberty University.
There you go.
But because he wasn't institutionalized in the way that we conform to these standards, that he was not encumbered in the way that other people would be. I see middle-aged men who get deathly embarrassed of awkward. They're afraid of not having all the right answers and not looking like the smartest and brightest in the room. And so because of that, they actually don't say anything that's bold.
Right.
They actually don't do anything that's bold. They're constantly looking to their left and right, like Ron DeSantis, who raised their hand. Oh, I'll raise my hand. That's going to fail. And I think that's what Charlie had in spades.
I agree.
And because he was like that, he was able to soak in information like a sponge.
I think there's a couple of really good points there. First of all, he didn't care about clothes. He didn't care. It was like he didn't care about his car. He had like a Jeep, like a 5-year-old Jeep. Like, he just didn't care about those trappings. He had his metrics for success were not the things like, I want to have a race car one day. Like, I'm a race car guy. I want to have a race car. Am I going to get one? Probably. By the grace of God, I'm going to get one. He didn't care. It just was like, that's not what he was running after. He didn't that's not what brought him fun. Driving fast is fun for me. He didn't care about that. He also had a little bit of that like founder, like that tech founder vibe, which is like my metric is to get for a tech founder to get users on my application.
Right.
And I need to get millions of users on my application to validate my minimal viable product, and then I'll get more investor dollars in. It's very calculated. It's like, what I wear doesn't matter to these investors. What matters to these investors is getting people to pick up my product. And so in the same sense, Charlie is like, what matters is getting students to engage. And then when I have enough students, then the president calls me up and wants to hang out with me because now I have a voting block.
Right.
Because everything in that world is value for value exchange. And so I think you're 100% right. I mean, I bought Charlie a pair of like cool guy dress shoes, and he wore them all the time, but I think he wore them just to like bless me, not because he actually cared about the shoes.
Right. Right.
And on the latter point of, you mentioned just like the humility of being okay to be wrong. This is a Benjamin Franklin thing that Charlie and I talked about a lot, is like, you're not arguing with the blue-haired commie. And the blue-haired commie is a human being made in the image and likeness of God that's probably on the precipice of suicidal ideation, right? That's not your enemy. Ephesians tells us that we're battling not against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. And there's ideas that are your enemy.
Yeah.
And so if somebody trumps you on ideas, that's not a bad thing. That means you don't have your idea robustly figured out. And to have the humility to say, well, I didn't have that idea totally fleshed out. I don't know exactly how to come back with that. Was a really good idea. And that's what, the many flights that we took together, the many hours that we talked theology and all that kind of stuff, it was mostly fleshing out those ideas. And it's not my ideas versus Charlie's ideas versus Ryan's ideas.
Yeah.
They're God's ideas. And we're trying to find out the best way to communicate them to this generation. And get all of the pushback, and that's okay. My son Solomon yesterday I was taken home from school. He said, Dad, they defined life in my class today as needing these essential elements, including reproduction, active reproduction. And I said, Solomon, what does that mean? He said, that means a baby in the womb is not a life yet because it can't reproduce yet. Like, he knew exactly what they were aiming at, what the target was, because we'd hashed through those arguments. And so if people haven't done it, it doesn't make you stupid. Like, ignorance is not stupidity. Ignorance is lacking information. And
right.
So dilled out the information. Anyway, Charlie was really good at that. Once he had the information locked in, unbeatable.
Walk me through, like, because you and I met back in 2020.
Yeah.
And we had one of these conferences. This was during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were trying to get some things done. Obviously, like, people were locked down. Not a lot of people were meeting. It was like, let's just get good content out there as much as we can. Yeah. And so we huddled together. We did something at Liberty. You came at that event. Rob McCoy was there. Mm-hmm. Charlie was there. Metaxas was there. Like that. I look back and I'm like, wow, that was legendary. That we were all in one place.
Yeah.
So walk me through how you met Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Your story, your introduction into Turning Point, becoming a board member.
Yeah, I have pictures of that on my phone, actually, that event. So backstage in that little room.
Save them. They're valuable.
Yeah. So I met Erica Kirk before Erica met Charlie, and she was doing real estate in New York City. And there was kind of a secret group of conservative, they weren't really influencers, but influential people in New York City that were, I don't know, like, New York is such a strange place because there's like the secular Republicans, and that's a circus. There were very few legitimate conservative Christians with their heads squared away as related to worldview. So Erica was one of those people, and she and I were working on this Lucid News project. That's one of the projects I do, and I was trying to hire her as the CEO of that company, and I was raising money for it. And did you know that?
No, keep going.
Yeah. And so that was in the spring of that was in the spring of 2019. And then during that thing, I'm like working with the investors and getting doing all the pitch deck stuff. She said, I met somebody and I have to move to Phoenix, back to where I'm from in Phoenix, Arizona.
Just somebody, some rando. Yeah.
Since 1971, Liberty University has had one mission: training champions for Christ. We've been at this for a while, and in the shadow of the Blue Ridge Mountains, we have grown to be a global force. Today, Liberty runs over 100,000 students around the globe, studying across 15 colleges and schools. And among them, over 30,000 military students. Across 700 programs of study, we train as one: nurses, artists, business leaders of the future and today. Together, we work to give back through service trips, local community work, and over 500,000 volunteer hours per year. And we play just as hard as we study, with 20 NCAA athletic programs and 40 club sports teams. So, who are we? We are Liberty University, and we train champions for Christ.
I mean, how many people like Erica would move across the country, you know, just for anybody?
Well,
right?
exactly.
Okay, so Erica was 2018 or 2019?
That was spring of 2019.
Spring of 2019.
No, that's not true. That was probably summer of, I'm sorry, I'm getting it mixed up because I'm thinking when we met, but that was summer of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. So then 2020 happens, right? And in 2020, the world blows up. Some of us know right away the whole COVID thing is like a bioweapon, and it's a bad idea to take a fake drug or let me say it this way, a poorly designed drug that kills a lot of people. And so that whole thing happens. That doesn't really affect us. We're a young church. You know, you've preached in my church before. It's young people.
I'll come back anytime, by the way.
Great. Good. We'll have you back. And then the BLM thing was the thing that killed us. Yeah. And it killed us because I had been really strong on every issue except for race. And I just hadn't, I felt spiritually an impulse to deal with the race issue early on because we have always had a diverse church because New York City is a diverse environment. I don't like manufacturing diversity. I think that's synthetic. I think
that's basically DEI.
Yeah, it's not like there's churches out there that they have good intentions, but they're like, we will have a black worship pastor and a white preacher. I'm like, why don't you just find the person who's anointed by the Lord like David was? Mm-hmm. And you can see the call and you make sure they're mature and then you put them in the slot, whether they're, you know, black, yellow, red, or whatever. Right. So that's what been our impulse, but I hadn't hit specifically, you know, the demon of diversity politics and why that is, you know, one of the axioms of the oppression Olympics and the Marxist, the whole thing. And I don't even like to say, I mean, I don't like to use Marxism because we root ourselves in secular academics or in secular worldview. I mean, it's Luciferian to say that what someone else has, I deserve.
Yes.
I just like, that's called breaking thou shalt not covet. Like, Jesus said, I'm going to take care of you. I take care of the birds. So what you have, I've given to you. Steward it well, and I'll give you more if you steward it. And I'll bless you if you act like a blessing, if you respond in accordance with my laws and ways, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you're in sub-Saharan Africa or Manhattan, those laws still apply across the globe. But, you know, the Luciferian concept is you have more, therefore someone has wronged me. Mm-hmm. And that needs to be rectified. And then we place that idea into the racial construct.
Right.
And then, you know, we've talked about this in the past. I don't want to bore your audience with it. That was destroying our church. And I was talking pretty publicly about it. And then our church went from about 120 people 18 months after we started to about 20 people because people didn't know how to deal with it. And they didn't want to be around that kind of problem. And Erica was just like, you have to get on Charlie's show and you have to talk about this. Charlie didn't want me on his show because I'm a nobody. And Charlie is a massive resource master user. Like,
right.
You know, it's like, did you see the Lego movie where they can like see the blocks and they put all the blocks together into the spaceship? That was Charlie every day, all day long.
It's one of my favorite movies, actually.
It's a great movie.
Everything is awesome.
The master, the master builder. The whole thing. I'm making the double-decker couch, and Charlie is making the spaceship, you know?
That's right.
And so he would just, he was masterful with resources. He was like, I'm not going to have a guy that nobody's heard of with a church of 20 people. I don't care if it's in New York. I'm not going to have that guy on my show. I would rather have, because like, everybody wants to be on Charlie's show all the time. He just didn't need a nobody. Anyway, so she kept pushing, and then he finally relented. And so he didn't want me on the show. So he wrote in the show liner notes, instead of my name, David Engelhardt, he wrote favor for Erica. so I didn't know that.
How did that make you feel?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that until about a year or two later.
Well, God bless Erica, and also God bless Charlie Kirk for that.
Exactly.
He listened, though.
I know. So I go on the show, just kind of fire on philosophy, theology, and application, and so that's what I've been trained in, and law. So all of kind of those things, just kind of that milieu. And so we got off the phone call, the radio show, and he calls me right back, and he's like, "You're brilliant. Please travel with me everywhere I go." And I'm like, that's such a weird way to end this call. I don't know if he says that to people. I didn't like. It was just weird, you know. And then 2 days later, I don't know who called me. If it was Charlie or Andrew, they said, "Can you be in Liberty University this weekend?" And that was, I think I was on the show, Ryan, like on a Monday or Tuesday, and it was like literally that Saturday. It was something that fast.
Yeah.
And then I met you and Eric and the whole gang, and it was off to the races. From there, I was with Charlie a couple of times a month for the next 2 years, basically.
Mm-hmm. Your message was Psalm 2.
That's probably a great psalm.
Why do the nations rage?
Yeah,
that was your message.
Yes,
I
exactly.
remember that.
Yeah,
like vividly.
That's right.
It was really good.
Yeah, and even today, I mean, I feel like there's been a couple of really knockout punches towards the works of hell in our nation in the last few weeks. You know, that's the classic. The strike against Charlie was, you know, my son Solomon. He texted me because I was in Italy when I found out, and he said, "Dad, I really feel like the devils are partying, but heaven is laughing because it's the great reversal is going to happen." And it's exactly what happened. There's been this incredible reversal, and the nations have been raging against our Lord, you know, but God sits in the heavens, and he laughs because his plan is fantastic, be it through tragedy and pain and hardship, and tears and having broken hearts, as we all did. His plan is still magnificent. And this, you know, you reposted that thing. I got a text from this guy that had been praying for his neighbor for a year, comes to church, gives his life to Christ, you know, eternal repercussions. I texted Erica a couple of days ago, like, there's eternal repercussions that are stemming from that, and they're going to continue. But also, Christians have to capitalize on the time. There's that scripture, in the time of rain, ask for rain. I don't know if that's Isaiah. And it's like, when you see God moving, get in line with what he's doing. That's right. Like, get in the track, get your sail up if the wind is blowing and move along with him. There's a time to capitalize on what he's doing, and it's right now.
Amen. You know, I think about one of my favorite movies. I don't have a lot that are recent, right? They're all like older. And like, I love Saving Private Ryan, not necessarily because of Spielberg or not necessarily because of Tom Hanks. Really suspect now, you know, but there is that one part of at the beginning when they're going to Normandy Beach, and they're trying to go up to this one, I guess, pillbox, right? That's got, you know, the German heavy guns, and they're shooting and mowing everyone down. And then they all kind of align, the Army Rangers, and then they use whatever this device is. It's basically like they use a bomb, and it goes right down into the sand and then blows that whole thing up. And then he relays back, he says, "Tell them Dog 1 is now open." Dog 1 is now open. And basically that means you're going to run all of these troops right through here. And this is how you're going to basically be the first foothold into Europe. The invasion has come. The Allied forces are here. Aslan is on the move. Okay. The liberation is coming.
Yeah.
Dog 1 is now open. That. Now here's the deal. Something happened on September the 10th. And I'm wondering if that's our moment as a nation where God is doing something, where Dog 1 is now open. That all of a sudden you have this event that all the world had to watch, even those people that are seething and reviling and saying all kinds of terrible things about Charlie. They had to watch, and they had to remain silent, and they had to hear the testimonies, and the gospel went out, right? And all of a sudden, it's unmistakably clear that what man meant for evil, God meant for good. There is a war going on. People are seeing evil, and they're saying, I want Christ. I don't want hell, right? And they're seeing hell, and they don't want it. This is that dog one moment, I think,
I love that.
where the tide is now turning.
Yeah.
And so it is all about the art of pursuit for Christians.
Yes.
And we've got to ram through that opening and try to take as much ground as we can for the kingdom. That's just my takeaway.
Well, that's right back to where we started with that, the signs that went up at Charlie's memorial. Here I am, Lord, send me. And the Lord will send you, but you have to respond. And that's why you need courage, because it's going to be awkward. You're not going to know how to say everything perfectly. There's going to be stumbling over your words. All of that happens. Larry Arnn's Aristotle class, Arnn defines via Aristotle courage as being able to see pain, accept pain, manage the pain that you're in for the good. And so courage is not being rash or being stupid or being, not calculated, but it's saying, no, this conversation might be awkward. And actually, there's a likelihood that I'm going to look like an idiot at some point, but I'm going to manage that pain so I can sow a seed of the gospel into this person's heart, even if it's not perfect. And I'm doing it for God's good, the greatest good. And I'm going to have those conversations, and I'm going to, preach in the streets. All of that kind of stuff. Like, all of that's available.
Yes.
We've had the greatest orators in the world in the church, and they never take the message to the street. It's one of my great frustrations.
Yes.
The public square, the grocery store, wherever it is. And you don't have to be a crazy person, but some of you should be crazy people, There's a whole wave of different tactics and strategies that
These
God
men
uses.
are drunk is what they said.
Exactly.
These men are drunk, right? What's going on with them?
Exactly right.
As they were filled with the Spirit. By the way, so I think that's right. I mean, there's going to be things that are going to look very radical to the world, because truth, in a world of deception and lies, truth sounds like a gunshot. It is a percussion of sound that sounds violent. And that percussion of sound too wakes and stirs everyone. And a lot of times people cover their ears and they're like, ow, that hurt. Like that hurt. Like the sound of a gunshot is loud. Truth is like that in a world of lies. Yeah. And so people immediately are going to be like, who is this party crasher? Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. I remember, it's at first of all, the nation started, there's a Battle of Yorktown, Cornwallis surrenders. They play the world turned upside down. In Acts, these are the men who are turning the world upside down. They're causing trouble. Get them out of the city. They're going to come here and turn everything on its head, and they're going to cause trouble for us. These men are crazy. Yeah. But everywhere the gospel went, it wasn't that there was chaos, is that the Prince of Peace was coming and darkness was being overturned, right? And so a new kingdom was being established. And this is where I love what Rob McCoy has said and others. When you swim in the streams of liberty, everybody's going to want to know what its source is. Well, at the end of the day, freedom is not man's idea, it's God's idea, but it is the inbreaking of another kingdom, another world into our own. It is actually alien in nature to mankind because you've written about this, but this is our severance from God. We were designed to live in perfect peace with God in his presence. But we've been so alienated from God. God basically had to invade and bring freedom to us through Jesus Christ. Yeah. So it is otherworldly.
Yeah, that freedom environment is essential. We can't do anything without freedom, whether they're streams or fields,
right?
Whatever the picture is. Like, you have to have freedom because the enemy wants to destroy freedom and control and tyrannize and kill us all. So you need freedom, but inside of the place of freedom, you need declarers of God's truth, because freedom is an environment that allows us the ability to do the declaration. I've been thinking about the streams of liberty thing, and I'm like, yes, but also there has to be people, in the boats saying, hey, Jesus is the way,
Amen.
That declaration. And that's here am I, Lord, send me. Like, yes, he'll send you, and he sends you as a declarer of his truth. You don't have to do it like me. You don't have to go to the subways and preach, but you can do it like you can do it the way God designed you and ordered you. That works. The introvert doesn't have to be an extrovert. The extrovert doesn't have to be God can use all of those ways, but you have to be able to say, here, my Lord, please send me in this moment right now. And then revival will continue to spread.
So you're looking for a university that's perfect for you, a school that has anything you could possibly need.
Anything?
You want a place that has the programs you want to study, and maybe a few more, just in case you change your mind.
I think I'm going to sign up for the fashion design program.
All right. A place with state-of-the-art facilities. I mean, look at this campus.
And who doesn't love big-time sports?
And great recreational activities.
Okay, now we're on a roll. Somewhere you can hike, slide, strike, shoot, climb, eat, and most importantly, eat. You want a place that takes you to space? Okay, maybe not, but we can teach you how to fly, or pastor a church, or run a business. And all that with a great view? Yeah, I think I know a place.
Amen. Well, you have kids, and they're processing all of this, right? And we have a younger generation, they're processing all of this. We know that from this, there are going to be those opportunists that come along that have sort of a perverse mindset. They're going to try and hijack all the things that were good about Charlie and misdirect and redirect it in another direction, even like the Groyper kind of crowd.
Sure.
And then there is hey, we want to promote all the things that were modeled, like the ways in which Charlie was an exemplar of courage, of faithfulness, of being able to articulate boldly the gospel publicly in the marketplace. What are some of the things that you would say, man, I don't want people to forget this about my friend who I knew?
Yeah.
What are the things that you would say, hey, this should be held up, for the next generation?
I want to say something that seems counterintuitive, which is Charlie was not perfect.
Yeah.
Like, this is what C.S. Lewis says in A Grief Observed. He says, one of the problems when someone dies, and this is something you have to fight against, is you turn them into a caricature of who they were. And that's not who they were. They were far more complex than that. And they had failures and they had faults and they snapped sometimes and all of those kind of things. Like when he's thinking about his wife and the passing of his wife, he's thinking about, I want to make her into this angel, but she was a human. And so the problem with over deifying somebody like Charlie is it makes it, oh, I could never be like that. And it's like, that's not true. Any of you can be like that. That's actually that's what I would say to young people. I would say any of you can be like Charlie. Was he exceptionally intelligent? I think so. I think he was. Maybe you're not exceptionally intelligent, but maybe you're exceptional with people. Maybe you have a different exceptional skill set that he didn't have, because he didn't have every skill set. He wasn't good at everything in the whole universe. Like he wasn't an artist. He wasn't a lot of things that somebody watching may be and say, how could I be like that?
I don't think he cut his grass either.
No, he didn't have any grass. He lived in an apartment. I would say, like, you got to remember to humanize Charlie.
Right.
If you're watching and you're a kid and you're processing this, and martyrs and heroes are very important and we should lift them up.
Yeah.
And we should point to their great characteristics. I totally agree with you. But in doing that, we have to remember that God has also called us, right? And it says he has plans that he has specifically for us that we would walk in, right? That he planned before our birth. He planned this great adventure for us to be on. And you don't have to be able to throw a football 50 yards. I certainly can't throw a football 50 yards,
How about that kid that ran that route so fast?
Oh yeah, both of those guys.
Christian Loswell, we know who he is.
Is that Christian?
Yeah. That was fast.
It was fast. He's amazing, but he's also very, very human. And you may be listening and you may think, I can't do this. That's a lie from hell. You can be Charlie Kirk exactly as God has called you to be. It still will take the same courage that Charlie exercised. And you can exercise that courage, whether it's at the grocery store today or in a class standing up against a lie or whatever place that God places us in. Courage can be exercised. And Lewis says, I think it's in Mere Christianity. He says, you cannot judge the eternal reward or consequence of a person with specificity because you don't know where they came from. You don't know what they're tormented with. You don't know the opportunities they had. And so there may be a man that's in heaven that you thought was going to be right next to the Lord that's sweeping the streets happily. And somebody that you thought you walked by, but he had such a great pain and torment in his life, just the act of turning towards Christ and living a year, loving his neighbor was vastly greater in proportionality. And so the point is, like, everyone listening can be Charlie. It takes the one key ingredient is, obviously other than Christ, is courage. And that's who Charlie was. More than anything, he was courageous. He was able to stand when there was a card table with two people coming up. He was able to go to a college and say, we're going to take over the world, join my thing, Yeah. He was able to get no's over and over and over again until he grew an organization with millions and millions and millions of dollars of revenue by really sophisticated people because he asked and asked and asked and asked. And it was awkward and painful and there were a lot of no's and there were some yeses. And then you keep moving forward. And so that's the courage side.
That's awesome. I love at the memorial, they had a quote from Charlie where he was talking about courage and he was defining it. And he said, it's not about, and I'm just paraphrasing, but it's not about how talented you are, how much income you have, whatever your status might be. All courage begins with is yes. It just begins with a simple yes. And that's the here I am, send me. God will use you. And one of the things I would caution against anybody listening is the yes, but. Yes, but. And I think a lot of people have a yes, but. I want to do this. I want this to be me. I want what Charlie had. And so they're wanting to do something, but, and the but is I have to go do this first, or I'm not ready, or I'm, whatever those things might be. I'm not perfect, I'm weighed down by so many burdens I can't even count them. Whatever that but is, remember, but God. And God equips the called. He calls, but he equips. So some people are like, oh, I'm not going to be called because I need to go do this equipping thing. I was like, you're skipping a step. You just need to say yes first. You just need to avail yourself to God. God is calling you, just say yes. There's nothing you're going to bring to it anyway. In fact, you're probably going to have to just drop everything and leave it all behind because nothing you can bring has any value. The Lord is just calling you. And I think that's something for people to grab a hold of. When Charlie would show, and I would go back to that 2019 when he showed up with those wrinkled shorts and didn't have any clothes or whatever, I'm just thinking to myself, wow, this is literally the man. It's just what you see is what you get. That's who he is. He's not apologizing for it. He's not embarrassed. Let's roll.
Yeah, and I think we could all use more of that. I know I certainly could. More of like caring less about our appearance and what other people think and just run the mission that God's given us. Like run it. It's going to be painful. That's correct. It is. But you're running it for the kingdom that, as Jesus prayed that his kingdom would come and his will would be done on earth as it is in heaven. Like that's what we're aiming for. And so run the race.
Run the race.
No buts.
No buts. Run the race with no buts. So just kind of, I mean, I'm just kind of been thinking in closing, we just got 1 or 2 more minutes, but what is it you're going to remember the most about Charlie, that you take with you? You know, David, you live, let's say God grants you, a man lives 70 years, but by wisdom 80. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that, I
get another 40 out of this run. You get
another 40 out of this one, and you're going to go. What do you carry with you?
I think Charlie was committed to the mission unlike anybody I've ever met before. He had a vision very clearly identified, and he was running to see that vision accomplished. And obsessed is the right word, and so, people use this phrase divine obsession, that the Lord would set the vision, and then, Malachi 2, you would run towards it clearly and plainly. Mm. And I think that's probably, when I think about Charlie, friendship, board seat, legal counsel, all of that kind of stuff. It's like funny different roles in his life that I've had. But really, more than anything, overarching, he was deeply, deeply committed to the mission, and he believed that he could accomplish it. A lot of people have a vision they don't believe they can accomplish, and so they give up. They think they're going to fail, or God will fail them, or they're not good enough. I don't know. I assume that was from his parents. I know his mom and dad a little bit, and they're awesome. But he just was like, I'm going to do this. Mm. Partially probably the people that he surrounded himself with that believed that about him as well. And they could see the anointing on his life and validated that calling. But when I came around 2020 after he met you, he was fixed on the vision that he was going to transform the college campus. And he did so.
Yeah, man. Divine obsession. Mm-hmm. I love it. Yeah, only God can give somebody a singular vision, but then the ability, I think the heart to pursue it. And there's probably, this is the other thing we don't know. We have no idea. It's the try and fail. It's the Thomas Edison light bulb thing. Mm-hmm. I know 99 ways not to invent a light bulb. Charlie probably had, 1,001 ways not to build a turning point.
Yeah.
Because all along the way, there were trials, and there were all kinds of people saying no, no, no. Yeah. And then people asking all kinds of questions that would be like, aren't you embarrassed? This is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And yet God did. Look at what God has done. Mm-hmm. Well, bro, we're going to have to do more of these podcasts. Yeah. And, brother, I appreciate so much. I have a text in my phone that I'm saving forever. I've got from him, and then also Erica texting me and my wife, just 5 days before. And, in South Korea, and something I'll treasure that moment forever. I'll just share it with you, but it was like one of these moments where she's like, I'm sitting with Charlie right now. She goes, give him a hug. And I was like, okay. But it's probably more like a bro hug.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, side hugs are fine. It's just so sweet.
Yeah.
So sweet and endearing. And I love them both. I know you do too. Mm-hmm. And David, thank you for all you're doing for Turning Point, for King's Church. And man, I'm looking forward to the days ahead, because I believe Dog 1 is open.
Amen.
All right.
Thanks, friend.
Hey, did you find this helpful? I hope you did. Please like and subscribe, share with a friend, and also go to standingforfreedom.com, where you can find more content, articles, podcasts, and our Theology of Politics series, all at standingforfreedom.com.